It is great to be here. Winston Churchill once said that success is going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. And my mother, when I was a kid, she used to call me Miss Enthusiasm. And I think that was really good that I had a healthy dose of enthusiasm, because right when I graduated from UC Berkeley, I tried to make a feature-length film about the brain called Zoli's Brain, and I totally failed. Completely failed. And I think it's good to remember how I got there and where I am today. So when I was at UC Berkeley, I had this amazing professor of film history named Marilyn Fabe. And she had this kind of infectious enthusiasm about the way that innovations in film changed culture, and it changed how we looked at ourselves. So she taught me about how when they strung together photographs, it gave you the illusion of motion. And it's actually called flicker fusion. It's the psychophysics of vision, and sometimes people call it persistence of vision. She also taught me about when these big, clunky, heavy cameras that used to be stationary, when they got light enough, they were able to move them and how they could go to where the action was. And then, of course, black and white to colors, talkies to sound, and then with camcorders and television, that each time we were able to change the way that we recorded reality, it changed reality itself. And I think you would all agree that the quicker that we're able to kind of record everything, the faster and faster life has become, or at least it feels that way. So I was hooked. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a film director. And I was studying film history at UC Berkeley in theory, but there was no equipment here. Now, UCLA had the film production classes, but I wanted to be a filmmaker. So I remember going to the anthropology department and finding like an Arriflex camera, and then going to city planning and finding an editing bay. And, but mostly the way that I made movies back when I was at Cal was I would recut old movies. So I would find old movies in dusty closets and by eccentric filmmaker collectors, and I would basically recut their stories into my story. And it's interesting when those of you that have seen my films, I still make movies that way. That constraint of not having film production here actually really informed the way that I make movies and my whole style. But still, I wanted to get my hands on the expensive equipment. So I did this intensive program at NYU called Sight and Sound. Had a great teacher there, Arnie Baskin, and I learned how to use all of this equipment. And then I came back to UC Berkeley my senior year. And I made some films. I did well doing those, well enough to think that I could make a feature-length movie right out of college. Now, I think about this now, and it's just preposterous now that I know what it takes to make a feature documentary. I hadn't put in my 10,000 hours. I totally hadn't experienced life enough yet. So even though I was 22, I really kind of was like that image in my experience level of life. But I set out to make this movie. And I started a production company which I named Flicker Fusion Films in homage to the moving image. And the film that I wanted to make was about the brain, the inside of the brain, and I called it Zoli's Brain. And I wanted to visualize all the metaphors of the mind. There was critical thought editing rooms and a mother of invention. And there was way too many actors. That was me at 22. Way too many locations. We shot on Alcatraz for where brain cells were imprisoned. I mean, it was totally, I think about it now. That's critical thought editing rooms right there. That's Alcatraz. Anyways, it was just way too ambitious. And soon I ran out of steam. I certainly didn't have enough experience. I ran into debt. And basically, I felt like the biggest loser in the world. And I got really depressed. And I felt like I had let everybody down, everyone that had believed in me. And if I look back on it now, though, I learned more from that experience than anything that I've done in life. I think they should teach a class in failure. I think that resumes would be far more interesting if you had to list all the things you failed at and what you learned from each of those experiences. Because as anyone will tell you, that's when you learn what you're made of. That's when you learn what you need to learn. So from that experience, as I kind of couch surfed and felt like a loser, I needed to get out of debt. I needed to get a job. And I had always been a big computer nerd, and I looked that there was this interactive filmmaking class. So I took my love of filmmaking and my love of the internet, of computers, and I started working on a CD-ROM. Do you guys remember CD-ROMs? Those were really big back then. And somebody said to me when I was working on the CD-ROM, you have to see this thing called the web. Now, I have to paint the picture. It was 1994. No one knew what the web was. And I saw it, and again, infectious enthusiasm. I thought, this was this way that we were going to be able to exchange ideas and stories all over the world. I was so excited about it. It kind of got me out of my depression about failing on this film. And then shortly thereafterwards, I was given the opportunity to found the Webby Awards, which was a very exciting time in the 90s in San Francisco. Everyone was kind of young and experimenting and failing and succeeded. And those of you that are entrepreneurs, that's what it's all about. It's like you're throwing spaghetti against the exceeding wall of the internet and you see what sticks. And I was able to make a lot of films every year at the Webby Awards about technology and how it's affecting our lives. So I got to really practice making films. But soon I really was itching to get back to making movies combined with the power of the internet to make change in the world. So I soon went back to making films full time, and you have to understand the whole world had changed. Before I used to go into dusty closets looking for film footage at UC Berkeley, and now I could go on the internet and I could search 1950s shot, blue car, woman waving, and I get like 30 images. It's like a kid in a candy store. The whole world of images is suddenly available to me with licensing fees, but still. I had this whole world of images from culture to weave and re-edit and tell new stories from these old stories. So I started working the last 5 years on a film called Connected, an autobiography about love, death, and technology. And I am going to show you a little clip of it now.
Still in its infancy, the internet is helping each of us to synthesize the two hemispheres of our mind. Clicking through the radical explosion of text information online is activating the left hemisphere. And linking from page to page, video to video, is stimulating the right hemisphere. The internet is literally changing the way we think, moving us through a constantly evolving landscape of words and images at the touch of a keystroke, synthesizing the two hemispheres of our brain. If this rewiring of the brain is happening on an individual level to each person who uses the web, imagine the cumulative effect of a Da Vinci-type brain synthesis on a global scale. Today, there are close to 2 billion people online. What would the world look like if everyone on the planet could be online? It's not that far away. There are already 5 billion cell phones on the planet. We're at the beginning of a participatory revolution. People's ideas are free to interact, reproduce, and cross-pollinate instantaneously, creating new hybrid ideas that combine perspectives from all over the world.
Film, and it has been playing in movie theaters around the country, which was really exciting. But I've been almost more excited as a filmmaker. It used to be a film director would make a movie and they'd have no connection with the people that watch the movie. So now it's like this movable feast. I mean, we have all these people on our Facebook page who have seen the movie, who want to continue the conversation about connectedness in the 21st century, the good, the bad, and the hope of it. So it's like we're having an ongoing Q&A on Facebook, or people that haven't seen the movie and want to find out how to see the movie. We have this very active Twitter stream, and we also made a discussion kit, so now people can host their own screening. So if you want to screen the movie anywhere, you can have this kit, an educator's guide, conversation card, so we can kind of use the internet to get you these tools to have your own screening experience. So it's so exciting to kind of experiment with how people are seeing a movie today. And that clip from the film I showed you was called The Participatory Revolution. And so this new film series that I'm making, I want to put the participatory revolution into action. So the new film series is called Let It Ripple, Mobile Films for Global Change. So it's a lot about crowdsourcing creativity and using and employing the community around the world to help me make the movies. So the first film that we made, we rewrote the Declaration of Independence as a declaration of interdependence. We turned it into a 1-minute script and we put it on the internet. And we just asked through a tweet and email, would people read this and send it to us? And would you send us artwork that was inspired from the words? Well, we got entries from all over the world: Haiti, Africa, Japan, Europe. I'll show you the film that we made from those entries.
When in the course of human events,
在人类活动的过程中
In the course of human events,
عندما نكون في مضمار الأحداث البشرية.
Quand dans le cours des événements humains,
becomes increasingly necessary
Para reconocer
to recognize the fundamental qualities
yang menghubungkan kita.
that connect us.
That connect us.
That connect us.
Après ça, nous évaluer.
the truths we hold.
To be self-evident.
Alors nous devons réévaluer les vérités que nous tenons pour acquises.
That all humans are
Created equal.
And all are connected.
比如每个人都是生来平等并且联系在一起的
That we share the pursuits of life,
La recherche d'une vie meilleure.
liberty
الخيروت.
happiness,
kebahagiaan,
والغذاء.
Water.
Agua.
shelter,
El refugio. Seguridad.
education,
pendidikan,
Justice.
and hopes for a better future.
That our collective knowledge,
Economy.
technology, and environment
Are fundamentally interdependent.
interdependent.
ketergantungan kita
that what will propel us forward
لأن لدينا شجاع على التقدير.
Is our curiosity.
Curiosité.
rasa ingin tahu kita.
our ability to forgive kemampuan kita untuk memaafkan
Our ability to appreciate.
Our courage,
Courage
keberanian kita,
and our desire to connect.
D'être connecté.
that these things we share
في نهاية المطاف إلى تطور.
To our fullest common potential.
Le cose che noi teniamo insieme sono le cose del nostro mondo.
我们应该严肃对待我们的问题。
We should never take ourselves too seriously.
kwa sababu jambo jingine linalotuunganisha
هو قدرتنا على التحرك.
Dan upaya kita untuk belajar dari kesalahan kita.
So that we can learn from the past.
understand our place in the world
memahami tempat kita di dunia.
Use our collective knowledge.
to create a better future.
去创造一个更美好的未来
So perhaps it's time
Jadi mungkin sudah saatnya kita
That we, as a species,
sebagai spesies, as a species,
you love to laugh
que disfruta de reír.
We love to laugh.
Poser questions.
Ask questions and connect.
Do something radical and true.
For centuries,
We have declared
Independence.
perhaps it's now time
That we, as humans,
declare our interdependence.
Interdependenza.
interdependence.
Interdependence.
Interdépendance.
So we premiered that film at a live event in New York, and YouTube put it on their homepage on Interdependence Day. And then this amazing thing started happening. People all over the world started translating it for us through this wonderful website called .sub, and already it's been translated by volunteers into 65 languages. And then we wanted to further the experiment, and we said, we'll replace our call to action at the end of the movie with any nonprofit working to make the world a better place. So all you have to do is go to our website at letitripple.org and upload your logo, and we'll make a free movie for you that you can use for whatever you're doing. So we did announce that 6 weeks ago, and already we've had requests to make 60 of these free movies. So I want to show you just what we did so you'll understand the model, because it's an experiment. So this is the end of the movie. So declare your interdependence by, and then this is for Hope phones that recycle old cell phones. So then we made this movie for them. And you can only imagine the breadth of different kinds of organizations that have sent in what they want, because there's so many nonprofits that need media to either fundraise or to inspire their base. So it's been this super exciting experiment. We think by the end of the year that we will make at least 200 free films for nonprofits. If you're working with any nonprofit, we're happy to make a free movie for you to use. And it's really changing the model. And we're making 20 of these movies in the next 4 or 5 years that are going to deal with important issues in society that connect us. We're making one on engagement, money, power, happiness, wisdom, death, and a whole bunch more. But the next one we're making is all about the brain. So here I am, 20 years later, making another movie about the brain. But I'm doing it totally differently. It's called Brain Power. It, like this other film, will only be 4 minutes. And the area that I'm interested in, it's based on all this new exciting research that shows how critical the first 5 years of life are to nurture a young child's brain. That just by human interaction and experience, you have the possibility to grow a brain, to build synapses. And much in the same way that in the internet, we're very much at the infancy of the internet. We only have 2 billion people online. And just imagine the potential if we could have everyone on the planet online. So right now, we're doing a call for entries. If you have a child under 5, if you want to film yourself with that child and send it to us, or just a child running up to you, or if you're a graphic designer or illustrator, you can submit entries of how you visualize the brain. So really, we're making filmmaking in the cloud. Before, I would Xerox a casting call at some office in San Francisco, and now I post something on the internet, and I get to make a movie with so many people from all over the world. So if you look at what I tried to do when I was 22, lots of heavy equipment. I was trying to do too many things by myself. I was going to make one feature film, 80 minutes, in one language. And now this new film, Brain Power, has the capability to be so much more. I think that innovation requires failure, experiments, enthusiasm, and moxie. I think that the internet for me right now is like this incredible laboratory where I get to experiment, and I'm wanting to innovate on every aspect of how they're made, translated, and distributed. I think that we're living in a time of not only mass distribution, but mass creation. It's like a new kind of persistence of vision, where all of these videos and images you see on the internet, it's like you're getting the vision of humanity in motion. If you have a hammer in your hand, everything looks like a nail. If you have a camera in your hand, everything is a story. What idea or story are you going to share? Thank you.